To be a lively debate. Good evening and welcome to a special edition of CBC Winnipeg News. We're bringing you coverage of tonight's forum not only on television but also on CBC Radio 1 and online. We'll live stream on CBC.ca/Manitoba, where you'll also find all the day's news. You can also watch on CBC Manitoba's Facebook and Twitter pages. Tonight we'll put questions from you, the voters, to the candidates. Send your questions by commenting on our Facebook Live or by tweeting at CBC Manitoba. Online and on 89.3 FM during TV commercial breaks, Bartley Kivas will join me to analyze what we hear in the debate and to share your comments. Time to get started with CBC Manitoba's 2018 mayoral debate.
Welcome everyone to your 2018 CBC mayoral debate. My name is Marcy Marcusa. I host the morning show on CBC Radio 1, 89.3 FM. And here we are. We find ourselves 2 weeks to voting day. We go to the polls. We will be voting for councillors, for school trustees, and yes, for the mayor of the city of Winnipeg. And 8 people want that job. And I'm pleased to say that tonight in our CBC studio live, we're joined by all 8 mayoral candidates. In no particular order, they are Venkat Machiraju, Ed Ackerman, Doug Wilson, Umar Hayat, Don Woodstock, Tim Dyack, Brian Bowman, and Jenny Motkaluk. Now, we are going to try to keep things as fair as possible tonight. We have 8 candidates to hear from, so here's our format. CBC recently commissioned a probe research poll. You might have heard a bit about it. It told us that some of your priorities included repairing existing roads and bridges and reducing crime. Those were the top 2 issues that you said you're concerned about and you care about in Winnipeg. And so with that in mind, we're going to have 3 targeted areas of discussion tonight. And they are crime in the city, the repair of roads, bridges, bikes, and buses, and a vision of Winnipeg's future. As well, we're going to have a segment that I'm most looking forward to because I don't know what's going to be asked. Every candidate is going to have a chance to directly ask a question to an opponent of their choosing. So anything goes. We'll see what they have to bring up. Let's begin with our first topic. It is crime in the city, and we begin with a question from a Winnipegger.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Hutzbutt. I'm 23 years old and I've lived in Winnipeg my entire life. And I know this is a great city. I'm part of a younger generation, the younger generation of Winnipeg, and we want to be involved. 20, 30 years from now, this is going to be our city, and we want to know that we helped as much as we can right from the beginning. We also know that crime's a big issue. You hear about all the drug crisis going on and always on the news you hear about all this terrible stuff happening. So I guess my question is, what's a solid plan for reducing crime, and how can we, as a younger generation in Winnipeg, as well as Winnipeggers in general, how can we come together and how can we help the next mayor and city council to make change? Thanks.
So Jeremy wants to know what your solid plans are for reducing crime. He also wants to know if there's a role for us to do it together, especially young people in this city. We did draw lots to see who was going to go first, as you all know, and that is Don Woodstock. What's your answer to Jeremy?
Jeremy, I want to take us from a crime capital to a sports capital. And I think it's important for us to understand the city currently spends about $110 million annually on recreational facilities. But I want to change that without raising your taxes. And I want to be able to spend $250 million to $300 million on recreational facilities, but most importantly in the core. If you keep the kids out of trouble, and you and I will agree, Jeremy, that we can only help together if we have the kids and our youths in the inner core involved into sports. Sports and activity will help them to stay out of trouble, and that will reduce crime. If we have that vision, if we have that mandate and that focus, then we can. And we can do it together, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to join me and get this thing working where we're no longer crime capital, but we are sports capital.
Other responses? I see Ms. Motkaluk making some notes. So did you want to respond?
I do. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the question. I think that I was grateful when the probe research poll came out because it's clear now that public safety is the top priority for Winnipeggers in this city, and we have been seeing significant increases in all of the crime statistics over the last months and years. So the question is, what is your solid plan to combat that and to reduce crime? And what I'd like to say is that I have put forward, I think, a very comprehensive public safety policy. And while I appreciate the idea, there's three pieces to it. There is prevention, there's long-term rehabilitation for drug addicts, but there's also the fact that we have an immense public safety crisis right now, and we have to stop putting Band-Aids on our bullet wounds. So the short synopsis of my plan is really whatever it takes. But when it comes specifically to the meth crisis, I have proposed the creation of a meth task force within the Winnipeg Police Service so that we can have a focus on actually catching the criminals who are selling the drugs. And I have also proposed the specialized meth unit at the Main Street Project, which will be a place where people who are victims of addiction can be brought to have better care, but also to relieve the police officers who today are tied up with each of them.
So hands up if you want in on this. I know I have a hand over here and I have here. So Mr. Dyack, why don't you go next for the viewing audience as well? You have your former police officer.
Yes, I am a current police officer. In fact, I believe that was my back in your photo walking towards the TAC unit. And I remember that incident.
And what is your solid plan to Jeremy's question to deal with crime?
My solid plan to his question is that it's a multi-pronged approach. It requires the marketing and education, what you're doing now, and taking a probe research poll and showing that 80% of Winnipeggers are concerned about this. That is a record number in the history of polls in Winnipeg, by the way. Police efficiency is what I outlined. I put that forward several months ago. That's in response to where are the police. But really what we're looking at is the rise in crime is linked directly to the use of methamphetamine in our city. And having a room at the drunk tank or having a task force or getting together and collaborating with other, that's not what we need. Right now what we need is a meth psychosis intake, we need drug stabilization unit, and we need long-term rehabilitation and long-term recovery centers.
Responses to that or different ideas, Mr. Bowman?
Sure. Well, for starters, I want to thank Jeremy for his question and for his offer to be part of the solution. The national meth crisis didn't happen overnight, and it's sadly not going to be solved overnight. What we need to do is we need to continue with sustainable increases to the Winnipeg Police Service budget. We need to support the illicit drug strategy, which I first announced during my most recent State of the City address, which has a three-prong approach, and this is being driven right now by the Winnipeg Police Service. It's enforcement, education, and intervention. We need to continue to implement the downtown safety strategy that's putting more boots on the ground in terms of safety patrols, safety lighting, enhanced video surveillance, technology, and of course decommissioning the transit shelter at Portage Place. I've announced during this campaign a community safety and crime prevention fund, which will allow some of the solutions to be better funded in neighborhoods across Winnipeg. We can't put everything on the shoulders of our police service. And this is one way in which, Jeremy, you and other neighborhood groups, including the Bear Clan, which I'm a member of, can receive additional funding.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. 4 hands up here, and I actually think I even had an eye roll. So we're going to address that in a second. Mr. Wilson has not spoken. Your hand was up.
Thank you. The public safety priority is based on getting a new mindset. We need to look at public safety as more than just law enforcement. And when we're talking about this crisis, we don't need to make more task forces. We need to actually start dealing with the situation of people that are in a psychosis on methamphetamine and get them settled down so that we can ask them if they're willing to pursue help. This is directly the way to do it.
So you brought up not needing a task force. Task force was Ms. Mocklick.
What the specialized meth unit that I've proposed would do. You know, today when we take people in the midst of a meth psychosis to HSC, they're not actually getting the very best care in terms of the long-term rehab options that would be available, and that's something that would be available to them at the specialized meth unit.
You know what, I mean, that's fine, but the root cause is still, we have to recognize that we have an urgent need in our community for mental health and addiction support, and that's why I supported the Bruce Oak Recovery Center. It's why we've called as a united council for a tri-level government task force, and we've got good support from our local MPs the other day.
Mr. Dyack, okay, go ahead. Jenny Mocklick, then Mr. Dyack.
It's a really great idea, and it's very important, but it doesn't change the fact that today, every time somebody is in the midst of a meth psychosis in the public, we have 2 police officers taken off of their shift right now.
We have yet to hear from Umar Hayat, so I'm going to let you go ahead.
$292 million Winnipeg police budget is way more than enough. Look at Calgary, Edmonton, 11 and 14%, over 27% of our budget. And all of the guys they're talking about to hire more cops. trust me, we're not going to finish that crime. Every year our crime is going up 15%. Simple solution, community policing. And I'm going to be freeze Winnipeg police budget 2% for 2019 and 2020, so we can save $6 million, and we can match this $6 million to province and a fed to make a prevention and intervention strategy. So more money for a youth and take something for a mental health program, so we can initiative start something for a healthy community relationship in Winnipeg.
We had Mr. Woodstock's hand actually that was up, not Mr. Dykes. I apologize. Mr. Woodstock?
Yeah, yes. Part of this is to recognize first that we have a serious problem and having taken some action. And the federal government need to declare this as a national emergency for us. And that's what I will be lobbying them for, the tightest in. But most importantly, I think we need to go after the drug dealers, and we need to make sure that we find them and we send a clear message to them that we're going to find a way to take away all of these homes, because neighborhoods, and Jeremy's right, neighborhoods, you know where the drug labs are, and yet still we have to find a way to expropriate these homes.
Mr. Ackerman and Mr. Maturaju have not yet weighed in. So in our last 30 here, Mr. Maturaju.
So I believe public safety is a symptom of poverty. So we need a four-pronged approach. We need more policemen on the ground. We need education and counseling. And we need to build a more inclusive society where everyone is part of the society. And
Mr. Ackerman?
I've been told that the police budget itself is a crime, and it went from 200 to 300 million in 8 years. I propose that the police budget is reduced from 27% to 10%.
So lots of ideas, 8 people to get through. And remember that at the end of tonight, we're going to have half an hour to readdress a number of the issues. But that is the end of our time portion for our crime and safety section. So we are going to take a short break. When we return, candidates will have questions for each other. So what will they bring up? Stay tuned. You're watching CBC's Mayoral Debate 2018.
And you're now with Janet Stewart and Bartley Kivas. We're live in the CBC Manitoba newsroom. If you're joining us on CBC Radio 1 or online, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter right now live. A lot of lively debate there, Bartley, about the issue of crime. And the line that actually made you snicker was, I've been told the police budget itself is a crime, by Ed Ackerman.
Ed Ackerman promised at a couple of debates ago that his platform would all be about comedy in danger. He's living up to the comedy. That is actually the first new thing I have heard from any of the candidates this mayoral race. Every one of these candidates had mentioned or brought up things they have brought up before during this campaign. Bowman talks about the Bruce Oaks Center. His opponents can justifiably complain that's nice. That doesn't do anything to people undergoing meth psychosis. Mocklock mentions a task force earlier in this campaign. Doug Wilson going at it saying we don't need any more task forces. We've heard all of these talking points from all of these candidates before, except for Mr. Ackerman, the one candidate out of the 8 that acknowledges that he's here for comedy.
Umar Hayat was really, really strong in saying that he would cut the police budget, or that he would hold it, freeze it at 2%.
Yes, and then you'd have to explain how you would honor existing collective bargaining agreements with the police service.
You'd have to make cuts to do that.
Yeah, so you're going to lay off cops? What are you going to do? Like, I don't think any candidate can credibly claim to be cutting back on police services at a time when the city is strained and there's a lot of calls for police and there's a lot of demands on police. So no, that doesn't appear to be a credible aim. There's a certain type of Winnipeg voter that will say, yeah, great, but the reality is the vast majority of what police do isn't responding to horrific things all the time. It is taking care of things like domestic violence situations, checking on health, well-being. They get called a lot on to do social service type of calls. The police complain that shouldn't be their primary role, but in an emergency service, the city of Winnipeg can't just not respond to these calls that way.
Of course, one of our candidates is a Winnipeg police officer. Tim Dyack is a beat cop who says he wants to find police efficiencies, and he talks about the need for, again, that meth psychosis stabilization unit, a place where police officers could take folks who are in crisis.
And he brought that up earlier in the campaign, and it's a very interesting idea. The one thing he didn't do that first time was cost it. He picked a number out of the air. He later said during the campaign, it's like, why are you making me always come up with costs for things? Well, that's what happens during campaigns. You have to come up with costs. It's easy to talk about ideas. It's very difficult to actually run for mayor, come up with a platform and cost it out and have it all be credible and actually resonate.
Candidates are also at a disadvantage because they don't have the budget information that, say, the incumbent would.
Well, they don't have the institutional knowledge, but the budget information for the city of Winnipeg is actually very public. Compared to the province, incumbent mayoral candidate Bowman always goes on when he talks about the province going, well, our budget is way more transparent than theirs is.
Well, thank you for joining us for this first analysis. We'll be back in the next commercial break. We'll just return you now to CBC Studio 41 and Marcy Marcusa with our candidates.
Welcome back to the CBC 2018 mayoral debate. This is what I call the fun part because we don't know what's going to happen. It's time for question and answer. Now, what this means is every candidate has a chance to ask another candidate a question of their choice. They choose the person they want to ask. They choose the question. Let's see what they have to say. So after the question, there is a time for obviously the answer, and then there's time as well for a brief rebuttal. Each question and answer, 2 minutes total. We're going to keep it moving. We drew lots to decide the order, and so our first question comes from Mr. Umar Hayat. Who are you asking a question of, sir?
My incumbent.
Okay, so you're asking for Brian. Your question is for Brian Bowman?
Yes, please.
What is your question?
Related ambulance cost.
Okay, you can go ahead and ask him.
Ambulance cost, one of the highest in Canada. And so far you did mention you're just going to be put 2.33% property taxes for 4 years. I haven't heard anything for a cutting. Something like my plan, Winnipeg Art Gallery, I'm selling 49% golf courses stake, and even Winnipeg labor force. I'm going to be just increase 0.25 next 2 years. I'm going to sum up simple. I know cutting is hard. It's very hard. But will you please share your plan? If you just growth 2.33% next 4 years. So we're going to take this deficit from when next incumbent came in or next guy came in.
So that is 30 seconds. Is your question specific to tax or ambulance? Cleanly,
ambulance,
what is it?
Please.
Ambulance
cost is one of the highest in Canada.
Yes, and how will that be changed given the current tax plan put forth by Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Yes?
Thank you.
Mr. Brian Bowman.
Thank you very much for the question, and I appreciate Umar's focus on numbers. As a financial advisor, I know he follows the numbers quite closely. So with ambulances in particular, this is a service that is the responsibility of the province of Manitoba, and the city of Winnipeg provides an integrated model with the dedicated work of our firefighters and our paramedic services. And of course, we're a service provider for the province of Manitoba. When we've had some uncertainty regarding our funding from the province of Manitoba, as they make changes to the healthcare system, we've engaged in collaborative dialogue with them. One of the things that we had to decide upon when we had that uncertainty during this term was whether or not we were going to make unilateral decisions. With such an important service for the healthcare of our citizens, we kept the ambulances moving, and that was the responsible thing to do. But that dialogue is continuing. And I believe that while the province is trying to clean up a financial mess on Broadway, we need to work with them, and finding efficiencies in the system benefits both the provincial government as well as city taxpayers.
And that is our time, and actually the rebuttal time was used up at the beginning. So we got to keep our questions to 30. So, okay, do you have a brief comment? 5, I'll give you 5 seconds.
I'd love to give ambulance service to province.
Okay, you want to give entirely the responsibility.
To province, please. Thank you.
We're moving to our next questions. It is Ms. Jenny Modkuluk to ask. Who's your question posed to?
Thank you. My question is for Umar Hayat, please. Umar, you know, you've been having such an enthusiastic campaign for so many months now, and you brought forward a lot of ideas. And so the question that I have for you is, you know, should Winnipeggers elect you as our mayor on October the 24th, what's the very first thing that you would look to do?
You know what, that's my incumbent said, I'm very good on economy and finance. I'm going to go to a reduced deficit. From my ideas, first of all, I'm going to be cut funding Winnipeg Art Gallery from $5.6 million to just $600,000. Second, I'm going to be Winnipeg labor, total Winnipeg labor, which is cost taxpayers $857 million. And my incumbent did a little better job last year, increased just 1%. I'm going to be increased first 2 years only 0.25%. So I'm saving $6 million from Winnipeg labor. Third, my idea, I'm going to be sell Winnipeg golf courses, 49% stakes.
All of the Winnipeg golf courses?
We have just 3 right now. 9 of them we leased. I'm sure my incumbent, if he can jump into, he can better explain you. We do have 12, but 9 of them we leased it. We have just 3. So anyway, I'm going to be sell 49% of golf courses stakes.
Okay.
And because if I do make promise something, reduce ambulance cost, 1 hour free street parking, ambulance, emergency,
And so
urgent
your
care,
first
cancer care.
priority is, you have 5 seconds left.
My first priority, of course, going to see the financial statements to make it happen, my promises.
And Ms. Markaluk, would you like a rebuttal?
Just to clarify, then thank you for that, Umar. And so just to clarify, what I heard is that the very first thing that you'd like to do is cut funding to the Winnipeg Art Gallery by about $6 million per year.
It's total. It's okay. Can I add it? That's
Please.
Okay. It's total $5.6 million. From my understanding, Winnipeggers need ambulance first of all. So if I do make, I'm telling everywhere, Winnipegs need ambulance. They do need 1 hour free parking, emergency, urgent care, cancer care. So
you're going to take some of the money from the Winnipeg Art Gallery.
From $5.6 million to $600,000, and also Winnipeg labor force cut $6 million from there. Sorry.
So lots of numbers for people to sort through. Thank you for your response. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Next, and remember this is by draw of order, so we have Mr. Venkat Macharaju to ask his question. Who's your question for, sir?
The question is for Tim Dayak.
For Tim Dayak, go ahead.
Yeah. The question is about the garbage contract.
Okay, you can ask it to him directly.
Yeah. So last, the realtors debate, I asked our mayor, how come that when we have half the city awarded to GFL and half the city awarded to Miller's West, one gets 18.5 million and the other gets
You're talking about different contractors that do garbage service in the city? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Waste removal service, yes?
So our mayor said that it was a decision of the committee.
And your question for Mr. Dayak is clearly what?
The clearly is, I'm just going to go through the question.
Yes.
Okay.
You're almost out of time, so you're eating your rebuttal time, but please make your question clear. Why do we have 2 different contracts for waste removal service?
Yeah, is there something not right in this contract? How do you find out about that?
I'm not sure if Mr. Dayak has a response to this, given that he hasn't been. Yes, but please.
So I can't remember the name of the other company. You're talking about Miller and GFL. That was it. There's going to be a differentiation in the contract because geographic areas are different and different operations. The other part of your question was there something untoward that happened in the contract? And I'm vaguely familiar with somebody questioning how that contract has arrived. I didn't go into it in any depth. I believe that there is a process that's transparent, and it allows for a random drawing. They have sort of a random number generating, and that's how they decide who they're going to contact first. But I've never done that contract, and I'm not an expert in how the city's going to be able to decide who should be allowed to bid. But if there is any impropriety in any of these type of contracts, I know a lot of very good investigators, and we'll get to the bottom of it. But I don't believe I've seen anything at this point that would make me want to start an investigation.
And that's your time. Thank you for your response, Mr. Dayak. And our next question, again, we had rebuttal time already used up. And so we go to our next person, and that is Brian Bowman to ask his question. Who's it of?
Thank you. My question is going to be for candidate Hyatt as well.
Thank you, please.
A lot of campaign promises have been made by many candidates during the course of this campaign. I've costed my campaign commitments at bowmanforwinnipeg.ca. Candidate Markaluk has made $1.2 billion worth of campaign promises during the heat of an election, and without providing funding sources. And so my question for you is, what would the impact of adding $1.2 billion on the current city debt mean to the city as well as to our credit rating?
Thank you so much. I love to give you time, please.
And this question is to Mr. Hyatt.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Actually, this is totally not for $1.2 billion.
Okay, we'll go to Mr. Hyatt. If we have time, we will try to see
Thank you,
what
sir.
we
Really
can do.
appreciate it. Actually, it's not $1.2 billion. Actually, it's more than numbers. So I wish I can tell you right now we have an $89 million deficit, which is going to be long-term debt actually in Winnipeg 2020 by $1.7 billion. Imagine I do to respect my Jenny, good friend. She made an announcement not of $1.2 billion. Actually, she did more, promising to hire more cops even. So it costs taxpayers going to be file bankruptcy city of Winnipeg for sure. Thank you. Really appreciate for you asking this me question, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And please ask me.
What I'll say is, I mean, part
We have
of
15 seconds.
Part of having credible plans is having funding sources identified.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm really proud of is we've lowered our expenditure growth to the lowest level in the city's history, 1.3%. And I appreciate your analysis.
We're going to stay with our format. I know Ms. Markaluk was brought up in that exchange right now. However, we are going to break. We have 4 more people to ask questions. We'd like you to stay with us. And remember, we have a lot of debate to come. You're watching CBC's Mayoral Debate. We have 4 more questions coming. Stay with us.
So is it me, or was that a really fun round of questions? What's interesting about that is how each of the candidates who got the opportunity to question another candidate chose to use that opportunity. Jenny Motkaluk's choice, not going to Brian Bowman.
She spent weeks, no, months, saying that Brian Bowman will not debate her directly, head to head. She gets a chance to ask Bowman a question, and she spends it on Umar Hayat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taken aback by this. Now, if I'm Brian Bowman, he too asked Umar Hayat the question. It's like Umar Hayat's the front runner in this race, and everyone wants to know what he says. He, by the way, is polling down around 1%. The idea that Motkaluk wouldn't go after Bowman, I understand why Bowman would not go after Motkaluk.
Because he wouldn't want to give her more airtime, and that's the only thing I can think of.
He made his question about her and made Hayat, the $1.2 billion, that's his talking point for the last week or so about how what he calls her uncosted promises are going to cost Winnipeg $1.2 billion. So he basically takes a crack at her and doesn't give her any screen time. Meanwhile, she has the chance to finally have the mayor in her sights and spends it on Umar Hayat.
It basically throws it away. Now, the only reason I could see that she might want to do that was to give Brian Bowman less airtime. But you're right, because she said he won't debate me. Why not take it up? Why not show the world what you can do when they go head to head?
Bizarre. And I have to say, the other hilarious thing about that section there, I mean, we had 2 people asking questions, Hayat and Masharaju, who couldn't get their questions out. Marcy Marcusa had to ask the questions on their behalf, what actually she thought their questions might be. Ask a question. You know, we have 8 mayoral candidates, and so far 4 of them have had the chance to speak and ask questions, and only 2 of them can get questions out? Okay, whatever. But we have this question from Masharaju ends up directed at Dayak. It's about the GFL and Miller contracts.
So why is he asking Tim Dayak about our garbage situation?
He sounds like he was referring to some comment in an earlier debate. I didn't quite get the context.
But that's the thing. No one listening or watching right now gets the context. So again, it shows inexperience,
Inexperience, but also Tim Dayak, who has nothing to do with the award of city solid waste collection contracts to 2 companies, Miller and GFL, gamely sitting there and responding. Well, you know, I remember vaguely somebody questioning that. I might be talking about Ross Eady and Councillor Ross Eady, and but I don't think anything untoward is there. He's just sitting there trying not to commit libel on live television.
And doing a fine job.
Yeah.
Doing a fine
and radio
job.
And web and whatnot.
Now, we will say, just in defense of the folks who are new running in this race, and they're not used to talking to time. Right now, we have people telling us we are trained to talk to time. Mayor Bowman, Brian Bowman, the incumbent,
with respect,
trained.
Yes, they're not
Jenny
trained.
Motkaluk, more training. She's more experienced. She's very good at speaking to time. So it is.
To be fair,
I'm
but
trying
still,
to be
no
fair.
No one forces these people to run for mayor.
Why do they run for mayor?
No one forces these people to. It's not an easy gig. Nobody says you've got to go do this and put yourself out there. You want to run for mayor? I had a candidate earlier in the campaign. Doug Wilson. He had a first and probably one of his only.
We have 10 seconds. Can we continue this next
Sure.
commercial break? Because I want to talk about why so many people are running for mayor. We'll do that in the next commercial break, right here, live online and on CBC Radio 1, 89.3 FM. Now, back to the debate.
Welcome back to the CBC Mayoral Debate. I'm Marcy Marcusa, host of the morning show on 89.3 and your moderator for tonight. So we are going to continue with our question and answer segment of our debate, but as live debate goes, sometimes we have to change things for fairness, and all of our candidates have agreed for fairness to give 30 seconds of response to candidate Jenny Motkaluk, because during question and answer before the break, you may have noticed that she was directly questioned and asked about some of how she was going to cost out and pay for some of the promises she's been making during the campaign trail. And she was asked that by not just 1, but by 2 candidates, but she wasn't given any time to respond. So in the sake of fairness and with agreement, we have 30 seconds for you, Ms. Motkaluk.
Thank you very much. So the question, the allegation is that I am going to recklessly spend $1.2 or $1.5 billion without knowing where the money is going to come from. And what I'd like to make clear is that all of the things that I have costed out, including the replacement of the buses, as well as identifying my infrastructure priorities, all have funding sources attached to them. What I have done is I've simply said that it is a matter of priorities, and I believe that we need to reallocate the money that Brian Bowman wants to spend on the Eastern BRT and move it over to the buses. That is one example.
I know your hand is up. We're moving on with our question format as promised. And Brian Bowman's now been named, so wants to get in. You got 10 seconds. That's all I'm doing.
She's talking about money that isn't in the budget to build a line that council hasn't approved, and so this isn't money that is actually budgeted for. So,
so we have time for full debate later. We're going to stick with our format. I'm going to keep us there because other candidates need fair time as well. And the person who's drawn next is actually standing over here. It's Mr. Doug Wilson. And Mr. Wilson, you have your full time to ask your question, 30 seconds. Who are you asking?
Well, I'm asking Jenny, so we'll just keep this going in Jenny's direction then. It seems that, Jenny, you've made a lot of promises. You've just talked about our meth issue being the #1 issue. You have all this spending going on. I'd like to mention that public safety is more than just law enforcement and task forces. Public safety and poverty reduction share many of the same required actions.
And what is your question in the last 10 here?
The question is, Devon Clunas, you say he's a supporter of yours. Have you spent any time at all on his crime prevention through social development paper? Looking at the root causes in crime? Are you looking at any other ways? I know that you missed a few debates lately, so can you tell us how you're going to connect to the other part of the crime problem?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Doug, and I thank you for raising it. I was very fortunate to be able to consult with former Police Chief Devon Clunas on my public safety platform, and I'm very pleased that he has come out publicly in support of it. So I'm glad that you identified that.
Well,
and the truth of the matter, and to your
question
about prevention and social inequity as a cause of crime, I'm keenly aware of that as well. And that's why one of the very first announcements that I made was a Crime Prevention Initiative Fund, which is money that we can direct to programs that will provide things like homeless shelters and things like safety by design initiatives and other community-based initiatives that will have a direct effect on reducing our crime, but are not so much a police issue, right? Because I agree with you. You know, there's a lot to unpack in public safety, and so I'm really grateful for your question.
And that's a question. We have 15-second rebuttal.
I'm hearing you talking about some ideas, but the only thing that you've got so far is an intake center for Main Street project. I don't think you've thought this out enough.
What about the school resource officers that I put forward, and what about the crime prevention initiative?
School resource officers is not where the problem is.
We're going to leave it there. That's our time. Ed Ackerman is next to ask a question. Mr. Ackerman, who would you like to ask?
Tim Dyack, I'd like to ask the question of. And I'll start with an impersonation. When did you know about the meth crisis? I have to say that. I've been stealing another campaign person's speech. I found out about the meth crisis in the year 2012 watching Breaking Bad, the television show, at the part where the wife found all the money in the closet and decided instead of divorcing her husband, she would go and help launder the funds.
And what's your question? You've got 5 seconds for it.
My question to you is, how would the police department operate with the budget cut from 27% to 10%? What would be the most important part to be left with a budget that's 10%?
Mr. Dyack?
A budget that's 10%.
Instead of 27%.
Well, I guess at that point we'd be responding to only crimes of violence, and everything else would be left up to private security and your insurance company. You ask a question about when did I learn about methamphetamine, and that was close to 21 years ago. I executed a search warrant. I remember everything clearly because I pulled out a small container that had 4 ounces in it, and I went, what the heck is this stuff? Little did I know where that was going to lead us 21 years later. I have unfortunately been involved with hundreds of methamphetamine arrests, at least 100 search warrants that I've executed at residents for methamphetamine. I don't say this lightly. We are in trouble, and decreasing a police budget or any of these other initiatives, which are, I'm sure, well-intentioned, are not where we need to be. We need to take this problem seriously, and I will finish my question by saying, yeah, no, we're not going to function at a 10% budget.
And that's our time. We have a 15-second rebuttal.
For your serious response. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ackerman.
But next, I got named in that, so.
Mr. Woodstock, where were you named? I'm sorry?
The impersonation of.
Okay, I'm not even aware of what that was. I'll be really honest with you. I missed that whole thing, folks. You happen, though, to have the next question. So the floor is yours to ask a question. Who would you like to pose your question to, Mr. Woodstock?
So do I rebut that 30 seconds, or do I just
Why don't
go
you take 10?
Take 10, okay.
Make it
it's
quick.
It's important to understand that when you hear of something first, you have a responsibility. Your first action is not to work on your own family personal needs first, and you take care of everybody in Winnipeg when there's a problem. When we are told by the authorities that there's a problem, it is on us. We have a responsibility to act.
We're going to have to move you to your question.
Thank you.
Who's your question for?
My question is for Ms. Matalock.
What is it?
My question.
You can ask her directly.
Ms. Matalock, currently, with all of the plans that you currently have, I believe that City Hall have seen its fair share of conflict of interest. The police station, for example, Sam Katz and all, who is involved in your campaign and all. But is there any possibility that you're prepared to sign? Because I've asked you and Mayor Bowman to sign a conflict of interest. And my understanding is that you won't sign it. Is there any chance that you'd sign it, given the fact that your family is so close to some of the major projects currently, to avoid us getting into any conflict of interest like the police stations?
That's your question time, Ms. Makala.
You know what, I'm really glad that you raised my family, because I'm very proud of them. I'm one of 8 kids. We were raised by a single dad, and every single one of my siblings has been very successful, and including my brother John, who started a construction company 25 years ago. And for 25 years, Bayview Construction has proudly been building roads in the city of Winnipeg. My other siblings all have successful backgrounds as well. And I'm very pleased to be part of such a strong family. So I'm really glad that you asked me that question.
Conflict of interest?
And the question is, would you sign the conflict of interest if you were
There is no conflict of interest.
With your family disclosed to all of the tenders?
Correct. Yes, there is no conflict of interest. Thank you for the question.
So, but the question was,
would
your
she
rebuttal
sign
time?
a conflict of interest, because we have seen enough issues after issues.
So the question was there conflict of interest? You were wondering whether or not she would declare
and she said she wouldn't sign a conflict of interest, and that's my answer. And that's your answer, that you wouldn't sign it.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's the end of our question. Question from Mr. Woodstock. Thank you, Ms. Modkuluk. And our final question comes from Tim Dyack. Mr. Dyack, who's your question for?
Mr. Brian Bowman. In the media, you are quoted, and I wrote it down here so I wouldn't get it wrong. I don't think that Winnipeg can really afford to go back to the days when special interest groups or union leaders call the shots at City Hall. And my question is, in September, you attended a 2-day event in Colorado Springs, Colorado, held by the International Association of Firefighters. Who paid for that trip?
I was pleased to attend. That is a ceremony that occurs every year in Colorado Springs out of respect for the fallen. And so that was something that was paid for. I believe it was out of my office budget to go down. I can look into that to confirm the exact funding source. But that was something, it was a pretty moving ceremony. It was to pay respect to the fallen. Including a member of the firefighting service here in Manitoba. And I also want to applaud the province of Manitoba. They've created a similar space now here in Manitoba to pay respects. You're right, we can't go back to the days of special interests and hidden agendas. I want to applaud you in releasing your campaign donors. I've challenged other candidates to do the same. And I know there's many others who have refused to provide that openness and transparency. And it's not too late for each of the candidates to do that, so people can see who's funding the campaigns. I think that openness and that transparency is something that all Winnipeggers would benefit from, and I would just simply ask all of the candidates to do that.
And we're now at a rebuttal.
The firefighters incurred no cost, the union incurred no cost, and one of the names that you went down there for was my Uncle Harris Dyack, who was also put on that memorial. So I ask one more time, you do not know who paid for that trip and the people that you brought with you? The drinks, the food, the room? Who paid for that? Was that the City of Winnipeg or was it the Firefighters Union?
I believe it was the City of Winnipeg.
You believe it was the city?
Mr. Dyack, do you have a reason to believe that it was someone else? Or
no, I'm just asking for the two, and I find there's uncertainty on behalf of Mr. Bowman.
But you have no certainty to offer to the question. I'm just making clarity.
Do I sound like I was being certain? I was asking
Sounds
if
like
there
you're
were
making
two.
an allegation, and I can certainly...
I'm just asking if you have something factual to share that you would like to share.
I have paperwork that shows that Mr. Bowman was at this event, and I have people that were in attendance, and I was curious as to who footing the bill. And the answer I got was, I'll check into it.
Well,
We're going
no, the answer is it would have been resources out of my office that would have paid it.
And that's
But
a
I
clear
can-
answer?
Yeah, and I
That's
can
it?
confirm that
Okay.
afterwards as
No,
well.
that'd be
And
good.
so that's a clear answer, and that is the end of a busy section. We're going to break. Stay with us. You're watching the CBC Mayoral Debate.
So there we saw Tim Dyack trying very hard to put Brian Bowman's feet to the fire, raising the idea that perhaps a trip he took to a memorial for fallen firefighters was paid for by the firefighting union.
Yes, now that's really interesting. That's the first very interesting thing I've seen in this debate, a jab or it doesn't, I'm not clear whether Mr. Dyack has any other information. I remember when Brian Bowman took that trip to go honor the fallen firefighters at Colorado Springs. He seems to be suggesting or looking to see whether or not the United Firefighters of Winnipeg paid for it.
We were actually wondering if he was going to pull up a form
thought it
saying,
was-
I have this letter, this
Yeah,
invoice
but he
right
didn't do
here,
that.
but he didn't
Now,
have any proof.
Keep in mind, Bowman has said throughout this campaign, mostly in taking shots over at Jenny Mockculloch, because the police union is much more in favor of her platform than his, to say the least. Bowman has said, I'm not being influenced by any special interest groups, and Tim Dyack is, of course, a member of the police association. He's a police officer. So he's trying to put Bowman on the spot there. If, in fact, we find out later that the UFFW actually paid for this, but, that would be a real weird rookie move at the end of the rookie mayor's term, if indeed he allowed that to happen. But you know what? We'll ask. We'll follow up on that.
Absolutely, we will. It was interesting, too, Don Woodstock trying to allege that there might be some sort of conflict of interest thing should Jenny Mockculloch be invited mayor.
All mayors have to sign conflict forms, disclosure forms, but it is
already. We don't need anything additional.
That said, there's two kinds of, well, there's more than two kinds, but there's primarily two kinds of conflict. There's direct fiduciary conflict, things where you or an immediate family member are affected financially. Then there's the appearance of conflict. Politicians have to go further. Mayors have to actually show, and Mockculloch's been asked repeatedly, her brother's company, Bayview, has $19 million of city road construction contracts this year alone. It's a question, if she becomes mayor, that she'd be asked often.
We are out of time right now. We're going to take you back to the mayoral debate. Stay with us on CBC Radio and online.
Well, welcome back to CBC's 2018 mayoral debate. And now it's time to see where the candidates stand on an issue that always ranks high as a matter of concern in civic elections. Infrastructure. We're talking transit, roads, we're talking bikes, and yes, we're talking about a famous intersection in Winnipeg. So here's how this part of our debate is going to work. Each candidate has a paddle, a flashy paddle that simply says yes or no. I have 4 questions to ask. Everyone will hold up their answer clearly, and then we will build in time to follow up with 2 candidates after each question. So again, all 8 candidates rather, have agreed to our format tonight. So let us begin with the first question. Everybody ready? First question is, should we put bike infrastructure on the back burner in our car city? Yes or no? Should we put bike infrastructure in the back burner in our car city? It seems that we have 3 yeses, 2 yeses, and then we would have 6 no's. So let's begin with one of the no's, which is Mr. Woodstock.
Part of being a livable city and
one of the yeses, sorry. Yeah. No, go ahead, please, sorry.
Part of being a livable city and a sustainable city is to be able to get our community in public thinking a little bit differently. And we listened to the world leaders talk about the sustainability of the city and to get our city on a different path. And bike, yes, we have to prioritize it. It can't be on the back burner. It have to be on the front burner. It have to be something that we look into prioritizing, and it will take some time. It will take some time to get the motoring public to understand this. But in the long run, we'll all do better if we put biking on the front burner instead of the back burner.
So where is my yeses? Where are my yeses here? Yes is up? Yes is up. There were 3 of you. We have Mr. Maturaju. Why yes?
Because we already have few lanes to drive, and now with the bikes, even people are getting more stuck. When I'm going in a cab, the cab drivers are saying, this is really ridiculous to have this bike lane. Now we are already having, we only had 2 lanes before. Now we only have 1 lane to drive, and therefore the traffic jams are more now.
Thank you. And we're going to our next question. Our next question is, get ready, new round, new paddles. Question 2. After completing construction that has already started on the Southwest Transitway, should we scrap the rest of rapid transit? Yes or no? After completing construction on the already started Southwest Transitway that's underway, should we scrap the rest of rapid transit? Paddles up, please. Okay, so we have some flipping around here. We have a clear yes. We have 3 clear yeses. Again, we have 3 clear yeses, 4 clear no's, and I think we've got 2 that are flipping around. So we're going to start with Jenny Maukulak, and she says yes, scrap the rest of rapid transit. Why?
Thank you very much, because I believe that transit for everybody means more buses more often on the roads that we already have. And that's why I put forward the plan to replace our entire fleet with electric buses and to grow the number of buses that we have by 30%. The net result will be that more Winnipeggers will get where they're going more often, faster, and more efficiently. And by the way, once we complete the replacement of the fleet and we move from diesel to electric, we will find $25 million a year of savings from the diesel fuel when we move to electricity.
So we're going to go to a no, which would be Brian Bowman. Why no?
Well, look, leading a city means you have to have a vision for a city that's growing. We've grown our city from 698,000 to 750,000, on track to 1 million. When we reach 1 million people, and as we go there, we need to move people around efficiently, and that includes active transportation, as Dawn's supporting. It means also improving our roads, as we've been doing, but it also means improving our current transit system, high-frequency networks, and yes, rapid transit. And so we got to move. Imagine 250,000 more people in Winnipeg and the cars that would be. I want to make sure that we've got a functioning, safe transit system that can move that many people around. And the mayor has to have that vision for how you keep the city moving when we reach 1 million people.
We're on our 3rd question. We're sticking to our time. I know everybody wants to talk, but the reality is we're sticking to our format. We're sticking to it. Remember, there's 30 minutes at the end of our debate, and then anything goes. We're going to have time. No, we're going to keep on moving. We're going to keep on moving. But I promise, at the end, that 30 minutes is wide open. We're sticking to our format, which is question 3. Paddles up for this, please. Is it time for a major reinvestment in fixing up our aging recreation centers? Is it time for a major reinvestment in fixing up our recreation centers? Yes, 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 and a yes. So everyone is saying yes to this question. And so this is a big infrastructure question in the city. Why don't we start with Mr. Dyack? Why yes?
My wife is a school teacher. I'm fortunate enough to network with a bunch of other teachers. Physical places to exercise and to engage other kids in a healthy environment. That's very important. Swimming pools, teaching kids how to swim, places to go play hockey, engage in organized sports. I think we've underestimated the importance of that. So I would support major renovations so they're functional, safe, enjoyable. That would be it.
Mr. Wilson, you also said yes. Why would you support this, putting more money into aging recreation centers?
Well, it's priority 3 on my community development platform. Massive recruitment of skilled and vetted volunteers to expand youth, sports, recreation, art, and skill building activities to most marginalized communities. This is how we climb out of where we are. We start with the children. It's a 10-year project that's already been in place. We get rid of this meth problem and we deal with it effectively, and we move on to the healthy children, build the areas where they can grow. Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to our question 4 already, and I know that we're going to end up talking transit at the end of the night. I can tell by everybody, the sound in the room here. But we're moving. We're going to question 4. So question 4, you knew it was coming. We're all going to have to answer this one in a plebiscite on Election Day. But tonight it's just for paddles up, please. Should we reopen Portage and Main to pedestrians? Yes or no? Paddles up. Paddles up. So we have 1 yes, we have 7 no's, and we're going to begin with Ed Ackerman. Ed, why no?
It's not actually a referendum, it's a done deal, and it's for the benefit of one developer, one property owner, and it's the Richardsons.
So sorry, there's a lot of allegations, a lot of information there that I cannot verify at all on live television.
I cannot verify it. I won't. That's my opinion.
But your opinion is that the vote is for not because something is going to happen that is beyond Winnipeggers.
It's going ahead.
Okay, well, thank you for weighing in. We'll go to Mr. Umar Hayat.
You know, I did protest Portage and Main all summer. So I'm totally against opening Portage and Main. Couple of reasons. Huge traffic jam. Second, 45 business right down there. They're going to file bankruptcy. Third, we do have so many better resources to use this $15 million. Fourth, most windiest place. We used to be, it was open. We had 2 cops who controlled the traffic. Imagine when we had 500,000 Winnipeggers. Now this time, 800,000 Winnipeggers. Absolutely no to open Portage and Main. Please use this money. And it's not a downtown issue. It's a Winnipeggers issue. So people, they don't want to open Portage and Main, and please open this money for a way better resources like math, affordable housing, and reduce poverty. Or even give a low-income bus pass, please. Only cost $10 million. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Thank you, candidates. That's the end of our paddle session. And we now have a full debate section. And remember, we have more to come after as well what we have happening in studio. So you're watching the CBC's mayoral debate. Stay with us. We have one more break.
Welcome back. I'm Janet Stewart, and this is Bartley Kivas. We are online and on the radio with you right now to provide analysis of what we've just heard. We heard some quick answers, yes or no, to many different questions that we asked. Lots of different opinions out there. One of my questions, we started chatting earlier, was we've got 8 candidates here, and some of them really we've known from the get-go don't have much of a statistical chance of winning.
Well, never even about a statistical chance. Let's be even more fair. They don't have an organization. They don't have a campaign. They don't have many people besides themselves. They don't seem to know how to put together an organization. They can't answer a question. And tonight, 2 of them couldn't ask questions when given the chance on live television. All right. Now, there are no barriers for good reason to people running for mayor. All they have to do is come up with 250 signatures that match up the names of people on a voter's list, have an official agent, file the appropriate paperwork. You can't sit there and say, you and you and you can run for mayor and you and you and you can't, because that would be inherently undemocratic. At the same time, there hasn't been a mayoral race where there have been so many people who didn't seem prepared to engage in that race for many, many years. 1986, 1989, there were many people running for mayor, including the famous James Pinhead Jones. But there were all these sort of wacky fringe candidates. We're lucky we're not Toronto, that has dozens of people, including a white nationalist. Like we don't have that kind of horrific sort of candidate here, but we do have a clear demarcation after 2 organized campaigns, some other people who are taking themselves seriously and some other people who clearly can't even ask a question.
Often I find people enter campaigns because they want to put something that's very important to them forward. They want to push an issue.
Mr. Dayak seems to be in that category. He cares a lot about meth. He cares a lot about the meth crisis. He is a Point Douglas beat cop. So I think he'd fall into that category. And you know what? If this mayoral race has brought one issue to the fore more than others that we haven't spoken about, it is methamphetamine and the meth crisis. Not that Winnipeg wasn't talking about it, but I think if that was Mr. Dayak's goal, then mission accomplished.
We will be back for one more session, Bartley and I, after this next section. So if you see something that looks like the end of the show, don't be scared. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for staying with us. And here is the next section of CBC's mayoral debate.
Wow, the time's been flying by. We're watching CBC's 2018 mayoral debate. All 8 candidates here live at CBC tonight. And we've covered some ground. We've talked about crime, safety, roads, buses. The candidates have asked questions of each other of their choosing as well. But what does it all mean? At the end of the day, a leader needs to have a vision for the city of Winnipeg. Here's a Winnipegger to set up our final segment.
Hello, candidates. My name is Laksh Khatter, and I live in Charleswood. I've been working at the University of Manitoba for many years as a change management consultant. This really puts me in touch with many of the young, bright minds here, going to school, studying, and looking after their futures. So my question to you is this: what one thing would you do as mayor to ensure our young people will actually stay in this city instead of leaving? Thank you.
So again, the question, what is something you do as mayor to ensure young people stay in Winnipeg? The only the order we have for this, they drew for who starts, and that person is Tim Dyack.
Well, I have a vision for the city that would allow people to want to stay here in Winnipeg. I see a city that doesn't live in fear. In the last 4 years, violent crime is up 25%. I envision a city where you can walk downtown or use transit without fear of being attacked. I see a city where a resident in River Heights doesn't have to wake up to smashed windows, garage break-ins, or a stranger in their kitchen. So how would I keep the young, bright minds of the University of Manitoba and Winnipeg? I'd make sure they'd want to stay here because they're feeling safe. This has become a dominant issue.
Mr. Hyatt's hand is up.
Thank
Mr.
you
Hyatt.
so much. Laksh, good friend of mine, and you're going to come into the topic, jobs, jobs, jobs. When they graduated from University of Winnipeg, Manitoba, as soon as they graduated, they moved to Vancouver and Toronto, bigger cities, because we do not have enough jobs. Two things simple: promote small businesses and bring foreign investment into our economy so we can create better jobs. And special when Amazon wants to come here, sorry to say we did nothing.
So we've heard some job ideas, we've heard some safety ideas. Mr. Woodstock's hand is up.
The number one reason why people leave this wonderful city of ours is crime. If we are able to get rid of crime, and we can do it over time, I have led on a number of visionary things like recycling, plastic bag day, garbage bins, etc. We have to have a forward thinking, and reducing the crime through investing in the core neighborhoods is going to have people want to stay here, but most importantly, bring businesses here
Three
as
hands
well
up here. We have 3 minutes left, so we're going to go to Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, it's very important to note that from the beginning I've been talking about small business being big business. This is how we get past the next hurdle. Yes, decades ago, everybody was moving to Alberta and Toronto for those lovely consumer-added lifestyles. Here in this city, we have something right now. We have an energy, we have an advancement. We are the city that's poised to deal with truth and reconciliation. We are the city to reopen ourselves to small business, and this is an exciting place to be.
We will go to Ms. Mokuluk next.
Thank you very much. You know what, I would suggest that somebody that has a vision for Winnipeg would not also say that Winnipeg's best days are already here. I think that that would create more of a myopic impediment. But my vision for a city of Winnipeg is that it be a thriving and prosperous city with an opportunity to live a better life for all of us, whatever that might mean, whether it's pursuing education or great job opportunities.
And the quote you've raised is, I believe, Mr. Bowman's quote. So your response to the vision question?
Yeah, thank you very much. Winnipeg's best days are here, and they're going to be better and stronger if we continue with a positive vision for growing our city for the future.
We're going to let you just
as I've mentioned previously, when I was elected, our population was 698,000. Long gone are the days where people are leaving this city. We're now over 750,000 and growing each and every day.
Mr. Woodstock, Mr. Ackerman, quick, gotta go.
People are leaving, and we have to face the reality, and they're leaving because of the crime and because of lack of vision.
Mr. Ackerman?
Damn the Panama Canal, that's the problem.
Okay, we're moving on. We're going over here. Mr. Macharaju, you had your hand up, sir? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My vision is to have a fair and just city with equal opportunity for all, a well-designed traffic system, and a transit system that works for Winnipeg and is accessible and affordable by all.
And that is our time. Everyone take a big breath. We're going to have a small break. Always lots more to say. Thank you, candidates, for covering so many topics with us tonight on CBC. There's more to come, though. Remember, that is only our time right now on live broadcast. If you've been watching on television or you're listening on CBC Radio 89.3 FM, we're not done. All 8 candidates have been very generous with their time. They are here live with us for half an hour longer to answer questions from you. So go on our online platforms, and we'll talk to you there. I'm Marcy Marcusa. You're watching CBC.
And I'm Janet Stewart with Bartley Kivas for 2 last minutes to wrap up what we are giving you tonight on television and on CBC Radio 189.3 FM when it comes to the 2018 mayoral debate. Your final thoughts on this, Bartley?
Final thoughts. I heard nothing from the candidates I hadn't heard before, except I guess I'm going to go back to Dyack trying to skewer Bowman on something, but then kind of holding back. They're making, maybe he was fishing. I was shocked that Mokuluk, given the chance to ask Bowman a direct question, did not. I mean, I'm going to have to ask her about this. This is truly bizarre given everything she said for a couple of weeks.
Saying that he wouldn't debate her, that he was chicken to debate her directly.
Nobody came up here with new policy. No one's going to drop that in a televised debate. Again, we have a lot of candidates. But I guess if I'm a Winnipeg voter, I listen to all of that and go, oh, geez, who are these people and how prepared are they to even handle the issues? But yeah, I mean, my takeaway is I didn't hear anything impressive from the incumbent mayor, and I didn't see from the primary challenger anything new or any ability to do anything. And again, she had the chance. She didn't take it.
She didn't take it. But Ed Ackerman certainly took the time to curse the Panama Canal, because that did, hurt our economy
and
decades and decades and decades and decades
and the
ago.
end of the rail subsidy, let's face it too. As soon as Winnipeg was no longer I mean, we can go back to 110 years ago, but I don't think we can blame those. I can't hold those politicians accountable anymore. They're all, well, dead.
Sadly, yes.
Yes.
Or not sadly. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you, Bart, for sitting beside me and having this analysis and this conversation.
I'd say most people would thank you for sitting beside me.
Well, there you are. And you're welcome. Remember that October 24th is Election Day. The most important thing is that we get out there and vote en masse. So if you are 18 years old, please go out there and do your civic duty. Let's get out there and vote. Thank you for listening to us tonight on 89.3 FM. And thanks for watching online. Bart and I are done, but there's lots more debate online, so stay with us.
Winnipeg votes. CBC's election night coverage starts at 8 p.m. October 24th. Get results and reaction live on CBC.ca/Manitoba, CBC Radio 1, and on CBC Manitoba's Facebook page.
And welcome back to CBC's 2018 mayoral debate. It continues online, and this is your turn. You've been writing to us. We've got a lot of questions here that have been coming on from our online streams, and so let's go for it. Our first question comes from Alex Kayonga, who wrote to us at CBC while watching our debate on broadcast. And Alex asks candidates, what are your plans to continue the development of downtown, making it more livable for young people as well as a tourist destination? And this is the part of the question he specifically is looking for a response for. How can this be done, as many developers, he feels, are continuing to develop the suburban areas of the city? So Mr. Woodstock has his hand up. Go for it.
If the core of our city is healthy, then the entire city is healthy. We've been bouncing this ball way too long. We need to invest in our youth. Which would you rather see your children doing, in jail or playing hockey? My plan is to see us, the children playing hockey and the youths. And I'm happy that the candidates are finally caught on to this concept. We cannot keep investing out. And a lot of the developers, they're only building out because they don't have a vision for the city. They can get more if they only think for one moment, what is going to make us healthy? If your heart is healthy, the body is healthy.
Ms. Malcolm has her hand up, so did Mr. Bowman, but his hand went up first. Thank you, Mr. Woodstock. So Mr. Bowman's hand was first.
No, it's fine. If he was first, that's okay.
Yes, genuinely, yes.
Well, I'll just say that downtown Winnipeg has more residents now than ever before in our history. We've gone from 15,000 to 17,000. The largest tower in the history of the city of Winnipeg is being erected right now, the Artist Development 40-story tower. True North Square just opened, and many other projects. And they are being driven by the private sector. The once endangered building crane has made an emergence out of the wilderness and is back in downtown Winnipeg now. And so we need to focus on safety. We need to continue to focus on an accessible and livable downtown with more amenities.
Ms. Modclick, are you responding? Are you adding? What?
I'd like to do a bit of both, thanks. You know what? Absolutely, downtown safety is of top priority because people will not go in places that it is not safe, and I'm glad to see that Mayor Bowman has finally realized that downtown safety has to be a top priority. It's taken him a long time to get there, but I will also say with respect to the developers, the uncertainty that's been provided by the impact fees being applied to infill development is one of the impediments that we have created to private sector investment in downtown.
You're talking about growth fees for developers.
Absolutely.
So this is Brian Bowman's going to respond right away. You would not be in support of that, then you would scrap that altogether?
I think it needs to be revisited.
Mr. Bowman?
Well, that's code for wanting to scrap it. I mean, let's be clear about this. There should be no uncertainty. I support impact fees because it's helping make sure the costs of growth aren't being unfairly passed on to existing homeowners.
But there is
But with
uncertainty.
regards to downtown, the downtown safety strategy was approved by council last year. It's being implemented right now. And so to suggest that this is somehow
The downtown safety
newfound
strategy is a
interest
drop in
is
the
simply
bucket.
not accurate. And it's also unfair
And the
to
impact
members of
fees
council
are
who
not
have been
clear about
supporting the
whether or not
downtown
they're going to
safety
apply to
strategy.
infill
And
development.
it's
And that
Okay,
is
we
what
better
the
finish our
case
thoughts
is.
so we can hear them.
So as I was trying to say, what I was saying was, council has approved the downtown safety strategy. It's being implemented.
And you're saying they should have a chance to put it through.
Well, it is being implemented. So to suggest that somehow this is a newfound interest is
And your
simply not
pushback
accurate.
was what?
My pushback is that it's too little. When it comes to safety for the residents of Winnipeg, we absolutely need to do whatever it takes. And I took a look at the downtown safety strategy that was put forward by this most recent council, and I will tell you that I don't believe that it goes far enough.
Everyone's hands are up and go another question. We can go around.
Well,
So, Mr. Wilson?
This is very important. Back in 2006, as mayor of Morden, we pursued doing our development fees. We sat down with the developers. We discussed. We laid out a plan. We passed it. 2008, we had development fees. There's been no problems at all. What's the secret? Our development fees go strictly to development. This idea of taxation that you guys keep on coming up with, where we're going to use this money for that, it's just a mess. You have to make taxing.
Okay, you're shaking your head, Mr. Bowman.
This is overuse of development fees.
I appreciate what Doug is saying, but what he's suggesting there, I don't think is accurate. The impact fees and how they can be used, they have to be used in a dedicated way. It can't go into general revenues. So it is being used to support growth.
Okay, we're going to go to Mr. Dyack on this side. Mr. Woodstock, you responded at the beginning. We haven't heard from this
Umar
side.
had his hand up before I did.
Okay, so Mr. Hyatt then?
Simple is, we have a 150 empty sites in downtown, and we give to the private developers for $1. Simple, think something of future. Bring corporate guys to make a collaboration with the city of Winnipeg, so we make start revenue from even with one site cost is probably $10 to $15 million, and we give to private developers for $1. So please start thinking about for the revenue with the private guys.
Okay, we have seriously 25 questions, so we're going to be moving on right away. So, Mr. Dyack, go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Woodstock.
Sorry, okay.
Yep.
The plan currently does not work. And if it did, then downtown would be safe. Why are we still talking about safety for downtown? It hasn't worked, and the reason it hasn't worked is because we have not truly invested in our youth. And that's what the issue is, so that crime becomes it's overwhelming issue, and people are afraid to live downtown. So to make downtown livable, we have to solve the problem of crime and the youth.
Here's what I think is a simple question that we're moving to, and it's about transit, and y'all want to talk more about it. Stephen Fontaine wrote to us, and he says, public transit, what is your plan for the cost of transit? And then he writes, is it fare increases? Mr. Ackerman, go ahead. Your hand went up first.
I propose free transit, and it's covered by property taxes. And in addition to free transit, all the buses are free for everyone, that we make a rail park and the big CPR railway park on the outside. People will live in tiny homes that they build on the rails.
Okay, so plan for transit and whether or not fares will be increased. Mr. Dyack, we haven't heard from you?
Oh. Sorry, I was still boggled by the small, tiny houses in the rail yard.
Yes.
What was the question?
Fare increases? Mr. Woodstock wants to get in.
As a former bus driver, the number one issue why there is problems on the bus is because of fare. You eliminate the fares and you don't have the problems. We can make transit sustainable, but in the long term. So my proposal is that we get it down to $2 and then eventually to $1, and then eventually over a 6-year period we look at a free fare. Because if we eliminate the fare, and I'm telling you this, that the politicians won't tell you, the number one reason why there is a fear of concern on the bus as a former bus driver is because of fares. So we can eliminate it. There are other cities that are looking for free fare. Over time, we can do it.
It's not going to happen. $192 million. We have Winnipeg transit budget. We're putting $65 million subsidiary. All is you can go for a little bit. $295 to $270. Even it's cost so much money. And low-income bus pass costs $10 million. So please talk about real numbers. We can't give them free. We can't give them $1. Please, even 25 cents. I can tell you how much.
And meanwhile,
but here is the real number.
Mr. Wilson?
You asked me
other
about
cities are doing it. Other cities are
doing it.
They're doing
but
it,
you
and
guys
it's because
talking
they
about
have
free
to think
taxes.
outside of the box, Umar.
I know, you said free taxes. I'm not sure how
there
about
is
you.
a way
You're talking about free taxes. All, even ma'am said 1.16% property taxes. How are you going to get the revenue?
Omar, other cities are
I
currently...
know, but how are you going to get the revenue?
The question, how are you going to get the revenue? Go ahead, it's
Other cities, how are you going to get the revenue? We have $89 million deficit.
Mr. Hyatt, we need to hear the answer.
Omar, here is the problem, okay?
Yep.
You can have fares for $5 and 10 people ride it, versus you have fares for $1 and 100-person ride the bus. Which would you prefer to have?
We're
It's a
leaving it
Chinese
there.
mentality that
We're
needs to
moving to
happen.
another question.
More people will be riding the buses.
This question,
and so it will
Mr.
pay for
Woodstock,
itself.
thank you. This question is going directly to a candidate because it's been posed to a candidate. Kim Treathart has written in with the meth crisis, homelessness and poverty and crime, infrastructure deficiency, sewer upgrades, bridges that need replacing, new schools, rec facilities. She goes on and on with a large list of needs in the city of Winnipeg. She's asking you, Mr. Bowman, her question is worded as this: Mr. Bowman, can you justify spending millions of dollars on bike paths with concrete barriers and lights in the face of all of those needs? How can you justify that spending?
Well, I mean, balancing a budget, as I've done now 4 years in a row, means that you need to prioritize. One of the key priorities for me has been fixing the roads. It's also been making improvements to transit, and there's more work clearly to do, as well as investing in a 20-year active transportation strategy. One of the things that we saw when we were bidding for the Amazon bid was what modern companies are looking for, and what we learned through that process, working collaboratively with the province, is the youth are looking for options. Many people are looking for options. A modern city provides options in terms of how people can move around, and as we grow to 1 million people, we clearly need to continue fixing the roads, which is I have a $976 million funded plan, as well as improvements to transit and, of course, active transportation.
So you're suggesting it's not an either or?
It isn't. I mean, you got to balance a budget, and what we've been doing is scrutinizing our expenditures more than ever before.
We will move to Ms. Motkaluk, who put her hand up first.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know what? So the question is, how do you justify spending an immense amount of money on what could only be described as vanity projects in the face of all of the top priorities that Winnipeg is facing right now? And frankly, that's the question that I had when I made the decision to run for mayor. And what I will say is, you know, just in specific response to something that Brian Bowman has just mentioned, talking about the improvements that he's made to the transit system, what I'd like to point out for all of Winnipeg, for those of you that don't know, is that in the face of the historic fare increase that we saw recently, the actual capacity of our transit system today is less than it was in 1988. And that means that all of the BRT plans that have been implemented so far have literally been done on the back of the existing transit service, and in my opinion, that's the wrong thing to do.
So Mr. Bowman's taking exception to what you just said?
I mean, look, candidate Motkaluk was a campaign manager in one of the ridings for Brian Pallister's Tories in the last election. I didn't hear anything about ending the 50-50 transit cost sharing, and that resulted directly in a fare increase. That was a very difficult decision by council. We still have amongst the lowest transit fares in Canada. We want to continue to keep them affordable. But we did have to make some difficult decisions based on provincial downloading, and that's why the operational review is so important.
The fare increase occurred at the very same time as $300,000 was spent to add Wi-Fi to the buses. So again, it's a matter of priorities.
I mean, we keep
the Wi-Fi is added for a number of reasons. One is to see how we can use it for increasing safety, also routing, so that there's better information about the routing.
Even sorry, $28 million is a private
Just a
development.
moment, we'll let Mr. Bowman just finish that quick thought, then we're going to two people here.
There's a number of reasons why Wi-Fi is being tested as a pilot, including safety considerations, among other things.
Okay, Mr. Hyatt, and then Mr.
Yeah, simple. Sir, already you said twice you are balancing a good price. Trust me, it's not true. Last year, we have $50 million deficit. This year, we have $89 million deficit. We're going into $1.7 billion deficit. Please do not say you are balancing the book. Second thing is how we can balance the books. My incumbent give $28 million to the private developers and $7 million to the Canadians to make their water park inside here in downtown. So how we can make a city grow?
Sorry, what are you referring to? I don't.
That's okay. Sir is not. My incumbent is not balancing the books. We are going to deeply.
You're suggesting that the numbers that Mr. Bowman is sharing are not correct numbers?
It's not.
Well, and I can tell that if my numbers are wrong, last year $50 million deficit.
Okay, Mr. Bowman, just to respond for 15
City
here.
Council is required under provincial legislation to balance our books, and we do balance our books. I wish other levels of government did the same. I also wish other levels of government had a debt ceiling the way that the City of Winnipeg has. It would protect us against some of the campaign promises being made by other candidates.
With all due respect, Wi-Fi and buses does not have anything to do with safety. Okay, it's another gouging of the taxpayers. Stop saying it have anything to do with safety. You know what safety is on buses? Get rid of the fares. This is a former bus driver. I drove bus for transit for 9 years, and the bureaucrats have never asked us drivers, what do we think we need to do for safety? And that's why they come and make these statement about safety. We have to find a way to increase.
And in fairness, there have been a couple of times where drivers have been involved in studies to be asked what they would like to happen on city buses. So that, I think, is factually
We have the Transit Advisory Committee right now where that input is being sought.
Yeah, just so we have clear facts.
Yeah, but the Transit Advisory Committee that is being sought, here's where the issue is. The City of Winnipeg issued gag orders on every transit drivers, okay? So we don't get to speak freely about stuff. Okay, and until I left transit, I couldn't talk freely about certain things.
We're moving to something
so it's very
very
easy to
different.
talk and say, yes, they do.
It's because a couple of people actually have written in about it, and it's an important issue in the city of Winnipeg. And so I'd like to ask Frank's question. This just came in to CBC Online here. And thank you for watching, everyone, and being with us still. We are still live in downtown Winnipeg with all 8 mayoral candidates. And we have Frank writing in. Frank would like to hear views on the city's role in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations and plans in that regard directly to deal with them. Mr. Wilson?
Truth and Reconciliation hasn't been touched. We've talked about it. There's no city in Canada that's really made any inroads on Truth and Reconciliation. I believe part of the reason is that they're not in the right geographic location, and I think the other part of it is that in order to get to truth and reconciliation, we have to deal with a very serious issue. We have to deal with poverty reduction. We have to deal with homelessness. We cannot reconcile if we are not peers.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Mr. Ackerman?
I know this is a municipality, but I suggest that Treaty 1, everyone read it. It's a bad deal. Let's fix it. And also about Truth and Reconciliation, CFS is a big problem. No one is talking about children being snatched with CFS. We need to do something about that.
Okay, responses to TRC, Mr. Dyack?
Yeah, I work in the poorest postal code, and I'm surrounded by the failure of many things. But what I find needs to be brought up when it comes to reconciliation is that a lot of people don't understand how far removed we are from achieving.
Exactly.
So by what measure, and Ed touched upon about child and family services, I mentioned health, corrections, and truancy. And I think if we're going to try and find one that is correctable on the civic level, that we can have the greatest impact, is to make sure that the kids that are in the core area aren't 3 or 2 times more likely not to attend class. So I think that, that's something that we need to address as a more serious problem.
Ms. Muckluck would like to agree.
Yeah. Okay. And add to that, I would agree that making sure that people participate in education, because that is the way out of poverty. I truly believe that. And at the same time, it's true that Winnipeg should be a leader in truth and reconciliation. And what we need to do is take a more practical approach to ensuring that every individual in this city has the opportunity to live a good life. And when I say practical approaches, I mean as opposed to ceremonial events that don't really have a practical impact for the lives of Winnipeggers today.
Mr. Bowman's going to respond, and then we will go to Mr. Hyde. Yes, I see your hand, Mr.
How Canadians respond or not to the calls to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is the single greatest challenge of our generation. So I really appreciate the question. There have been a number of things that Winnipeg has been doing to become a leader in the reconciliation work of Canadians, including at the City of Winnipeg bringing in the first Indigenous Accord, which is initiating real action on the ground amongst grassroots and business organizations. One of the things at the city that we've done is we've introduced mandatory reconciliation training. Over 6,000 people, myself included, have taken the reconciliation training. That is having a real and tangible impact in the community. There's a lot more work to do. I've led on this for many, many years, and I'd like to hear more from the candidates during the campaign about what their plans are to further the reconciliation work. It should not be a political
We're more than
topic.
halfway through our time now, just so everyone knows. We can move to another question. We have a couple of people you're begging. Go ahead.
Please. Human rights. We have the Human Rights Museum right here. And until the basic human rights are guaranteed to all, not to a chosen few nor the 1%, then how can we even start? We have a glorious opportunity to lead.
Thank you, Mr.
in
Woodstock.
this way.
We will move to another question. This question is about something completely different again. This is from Jeremy Jason Stanton. He's written into us. What are you going to do to improve upon recycling, an area that needs to be improved upon? And so our first hand up was actually Mr. Ackerman.
What I want to do is to have community composts something about the size of a grain bin, where each community has their own responsibility to do their recycling and to make their own dirt, but to change a few bylaws so it's possible.
Mr. Maturaju, you've been quite quiet. Did you want to weigh in on recycling or organic waste? There's another question here about plans to expand, because you've raised the issue as well. There's another question from Mr. Dingwall who asks about including organic waste.
Yes, I believe in that. I want to stop using the one-time use plastic.
One-time use plastics, okay.
And also use organic pickup for like using it for parks and everything.
Okay. And with one-time use plastics, are you seeking, as part of what you're running on, is a complete ban on that in the city of Winnipeg? Okay. Yes, Mr. actually Dyack, I think, was next.
Yeah, and it was to lead in on what you suggested about compost, organic waste pickup, and I think that's an excellent idea, a little green bin. But what I find is that when I'm doing composting at home, it's a bit of a challenge to keep the composting bin from smelling. So my proposal would be a smaller rotomolded, made of the same material as our black and blue bins now, and you'd be able to leave that, and they would pick that up and leave you a clean one like we did with milk. That way people would actually use it, because it just smells too quickly.
Okay, to try to keep it fair here, Mr. Hyatt, then?
Simple. It's cost $120 million. If they talk about for anything, I'm sure no one is going to say it's a bad idea. It's a good idea. But where are we going to get the $120 million? We just recently...
So where did you get that number, and what are you talking about? What cost that?
You can go everywhere. Go to even a Canadian policy of alternative. They can tell you $120 million. It's
for what?
Canadian composite.
No, for
organic waste bins.
Pickup, okay.
Yeah, it's cost $120 million. Simple is, we are giving a contract for recycling $112 million for 7 years to one of the company picking up our recycling. I can use this money, this recycling here to make a recycling plant close to Winnipeg and make money. No doubt I'm going to be saved $112 million from recycling and making money from Winnipeggers through recycling. Second thing, we just canceled the garbage contract right now, $71 million, and we give this garbage contract to $251 million. And my incumbent already said that I'm going to make efficiency better. Trust me, simple I can say that's not truth. And we have to look at the figures. Please do not increase water and sewer rates up. Thanks.
Can I respond to that?
Yes,
sure,
you can
please.
respond.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
Mr.
I mean,
Bowman?
one of my commitments during the campaign has been to freeze the water and sewer dividend rate, as well as to freeze the frontage levy rates. We haven't heard that from other candidates, and so when it comes to no, I said all other candidates, but when it comes to recycling, I'd like to see more recycling in our parks. I'd like to partner with Recycle Everywhere, and I'd like to see more of that. The curbside organics is a very big issue. In principle, I do support it. The challenge is, of course, the costing. When we had that dialogue over the course of this term,
but did you heard before $112 million over recycling budget?
What we heard is those that compost, like my family has been doing for many years. People saying you're going to force me now to pay, because that was what was coming out in the public, was we're going to be paying more. And people who were composting didn't like that imposed
Sorry, I'm
upon
interrupting.
those.
$112 million over recycling budget. Can we cancel this contract and make recycling money through recycling here in Winnipeg?
Well,
simple. Winnipeggers love to ask.
So we're going to move to sewer dumping. We have a new question about sewer dumping.
10 years ago.
Don Woodstock, you have had the last word on a lot of the issues, so I'm going to move us on. I am going to move us on for the sake of trying to keep it around. I am. I'm going to move us to this question. Okay, this question comes from Doug Carnes, and he asks,
I still love you. I don't.
What are you going? You have to make Doug love you. What are you going to do about sewer dumping in Winnipeg that currently happens within our rivers? And so the first two hands, in fairness, were here and then here and then here. So Ms. Makaluk?
So I'd like to say that I am the only candidate in this campaign that has raised the issue of raw sewage going into our rivers. And I think that it's absolutely horrifying that in 2018, we still dump raw sewage into our rivers with alarming regularity. Under Brian Bowman's transparent government, we have not seen, the Winnipeggers have not known very often when those instances occurred. And while the larger problem is definitely a very big one, there are some very practical things that we can do to mitigate it today.
What would you do and how would you pay for it?
What we will do is we will implement backup generators at all of the lift stations in Winnipeg, which will eliminate approximately 1/3 of all of those unintended outflows.
She raised Mr. Bowman's name, so I will go to Mr. Bowman next.
I mean, one way in which you fix the problem is you don't denigrate the name of our great city, and that we've heard from candidate Montlach during this campaign. We've invested $78 million in CSO conversions over the last 4 years. We have a plan to convert over, up until 2023, an additional $131 million in converting. I think everybody can agree that the combined sewer overflows that are really in all North American cities, or a lot of North American cities, are unacceptable.
We will go back to you, Ms. Motkalek, but I think two people disagreed with what you just said.
What
So,
I
Mr.
want to
Wilson?
mention is that here we are talking about this issue that has a multi-billion-dollar plant being discussed.
$1.4 billion.
And this plant is going to do nothing to improve the quality of the river, because nobody is talking about the fact that the river comes from the south and there's an awful lot of stuff in it. I'm certain Winkler puts more waste into the city's river, into the Red River, than Winnipeg does. And this is the point. Doing any of the improvements, in the water treatment plant is not going to fix the problem.
Here in Winnipeg.
You have to talk to the rest of the people outside of the city.
Okay, Mr. Dyack, to point, please. Just a moment, Mr. Hyatt, please.
Okay, so 10 years ago.
Keep mixing up Mr. Woodstock's name with Mr. Dyack. I apologize. Mr. Woodstock.
10 years ago, I had led on a lot of the environmental issues, and it's easy for politicians to sit here and talk about what they're going to do. The fact is, if we care about the environment and we care about being better stewards, we would put simple plans into place. Yes, making sure that we have the investment, and that's good. But here's the problem. That's why I signed a conflict of interest, because what's happening is that almost 100% of every single project that runs through the city of Winnipeg is overrun. And we don't have to look far to see them. So the millions of dollars that we're spending, if we had spent it wisely, we could have achieved way more than what we have achieved. And that's what I bring to the table.
Well, Mr. Hyatt actually had, you did have your hand up first.
Simple, $1.4 billion. I'm going to even, I'm sure, ask my incumbents, 70% of our sewage is going through a North End Water Pollution Center. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
That's excellent. And if Marcy's going to ask me again, 1.4.
Well, let him respond, though.
The South End upgrades are happening right now. The West End has happened. The North End is, you're right, $1.4 billion
to your point
current
then, Mr.
estimate.
Hyatt?
Yes, 70% of our sewage is treatment right now going through North End Water Pollution Center. Sir, am I right?
Yes.
Thank you. And Marcy's going to ask me where we're going to get the $1.4 billion number. Am I right? Canadian policy alternative, they did clearly mention we need to update this water sewer treatment plant. It's our city of Winnipeg's priority. But problem is this city hall, they don't understand. Might be they're neglecting these numbers, or might be we're just quiet. Backup generators is not the solution. Simple. I'm going to save time, please.
Very good. You know what? Is it my turn?
Ms. Motkalek, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So, it's one thing to be a cheerleader for the city of Winnipeg, and I think a lot of people would agree that Brian Bowman has done an excellent job of that over his term. However, it doesn't change the fact that we have to actually identify the problems that we have before we can solve them. And we need to be willing to identify the fact that we have a public safety crisis before we can put plans into place. We need to be willing to identify, it is about the sewers, because we have to be willing to identify the fact that we are dumping raw sewage into our rivers.
How often?
And before 87 times last year.
87 times.
And you don't feel that Mr. Bowman has acknowledged this?
No, I don't. And I think that we can't
Mr. Bowman gets to
solve the
respond
problem.
because that's an
fine, but I
allegation
think
that
we
he
can't
hasn't.
solve the problems until we identify them.
The health of our rivers and Lake Winnipeg are incredibly important to me. My grandfather was a commercial fisherman on Lake Winnipeg, and I've seen the health of that lake deteriorate over my lifetime, let alone what we hear from some of our elders in the community. Acknowledging the problem is something that the city of Winnipeg has done for many years, well before I was mayor, and that's why we've invested $78 million. Real dollars, real investments, not
3
simply
minutes
calling
left
calling
in our
city
section of debate. Brand new question, brand new
Oh,
topic,
man.
and this one is a brand new law.
Whoa.
New law.
New law comes into effect next week.
Yes.
Stephen Stairs has asked, with the legalization of cannabis right around the corner, what are each of the candidates' opinions on cannabis use? And do they personally plan on using cannabis as of October 17th? Which is a personal question, and usually it doesn't be involved in public debate, so I'm just putting it up front that everybody can decide which their answer. But that is the question. I'm going to go all the way around. He's asked each of you, but we're going to try to keep this moving. So we'll start with you, Mr. Maturaju. What is your answer to the question? With legalization of cannabis?
Yes, I say.
What's your opinion on cannabis use?
I don't think it's a good thing to do, but I think at least it will still control people committing crime to get that one.
Okay, then we're going to move to Mr. Wilson.
The issue of marijuana in this country is one that will unfold obviously on the 17th. We will not see mass terror in the city. My history with it is that my wife, who passed away from leukemia, found that there was medication that worked for her. So I am not against this happening.
And we'll go to you, Mr. Woodstock.
4 years ago, Chuck Davison and Dave Angus sat in a room, and I said to them that we are in the center of Canada, and the stigma attached to marijuana we need to get rid of. And as a vision for the city, we need to embrace this because it's going to happen. They laughed at me 4 years ago. They're not laughing today because the lack of vision, the Winnipeg Chamber canceled the debate, and we should have had that debate. Now, in November, the Winnipeg Chamber is going to have a luncheon to talk about marijuana at work. The city of Winnipeg needed to have taken a lead role in this, and they have neglected to deal with it as it is. I don't smoke, but there are more medicinal value from marijuana than this fear that people are attaching to it. Children are being given it now.
And some of the research and some of the understanding of those things, I just want to be clear to the audience, are still under review, and there is a lot of research to support a lot of different things, but also things that have not yet to be studied. So I just want to put that out there for the audience.
Yes, but I support the city taking a lead role because it's going to happen, and we
Thank you, Mr. Woodstock.
We did not.
We're going to get all the way around, and we're going to not run out of time, so I won't allow it. So, Mr. Bowman, your view on opinion of cannabis use?
I'll just say Chuck Davidson and Dave Angus are community builders and deserving of respect, and so
I spoke the truth.
I just simply say these are community builders. When it comes to the legalization of cannabis, the federal government does have a mandate, and they're implementing it. My primary concerns have been the increased expenses to the city of Winnipeg, which have been identified. We're having ongoing dialogue with the province of Manitoba to ensure that especially dollars for public safety measures can be adequately compensated, so taxpayers aren't having to foot the bill for those that choose to consume cannabis. I haven't consumed cannabis. I don't plan to change that going forward. But we're going to do what we can to make sure that public safety is adequately addressed, and we work collaboratively with both the federal and the provincial governments.
We're going to go to Mr. Ackerman. Actually, we're going to switch order and then come back to the middle. All 8 to respond. Mr. Ackerman.
Okay, I propose that the federal government issue the $1 bill again, and that it's made with hemp and marijuana. It can be rolled up and smoked, and that would be fantastic for a foreign exchange. So
we're gonna thank you, Mr. Ackerman.
$268 million revenue coming. Please talk about right now for show leadership.
Mr. Woodstock, just a moment.
$268 million revenue coming through 2019 in our city of Winnipeg. Where are we going to use this money? When this money comes into our pocket, do we have any plan to use this money? Can I ask a question from my incumbent? Or no, just stay quiet.
Your position is then I'm not going to allow you to ask a question because we're wrapping our section.
Simple.
They want to know your position if you're to be mayor.
You know what? Of course, we have to. That's not our jurisdictions. If Fed allow to go through, we have to be listened. But we need money. If they allow $268 million, province is taking, we need to take a fair share. With 70% of the population, we need to use this money to go given even meth problem. We need to go use even. Please,
thank you, Mr.
We need minimum $200 million from the province.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Mr. Tim Dyack?
Yeah, I'd like to see how much money is actually generated by the province on that before we start
trying to... $268 million.
Okay. Well, that's a projection, and I agree that that might be high. What I also like, though, is that there's going to be new legislation for us to do enforcement where it counts, because I don't want to see people saying, oh, marijuana's legal, and they equate it to smoking, or they put it in their vape, and then they go out and drive behind the wheel of a car.
Leadership.
And what I like is that there are high fines. I know for 31 years, it's been pretty easy to catch people who are using marijuana in their vehicle. It stinks. In the summertime, I can pull the car over and smell it from a distance. And so we'll be able to actually recoup quite a bit of our law enforcement cost by issuing tickets to people who are dumb enough to smoke it in their vehicle.
Okay, and our final response, because we are going to be out of time, and it's for fairness, does come from Jenny Motkaluk.
Thank you very much. Well, you know what, so the question is about legal marijuana, and again, that ship has sailed, right? The federal government has already mandated it, and it's up to the city of Winnipeg to figure out how we're going to manage it. But what I heard earlier is that there was a concern about what the cost to the taxpayer will be of legal marijuana. And I think it's important to recognize that illegal marijuana also had a tremendous burden on the taxpayer in terms of the law enforcement that we had to do. So in my opinion, it's a great opportunity for Winnipeg to potentially generate some revenue and make sure that we get the illegal drugs out of the hands of the people that shouldn't have it. So thank
we
you very
have
much.
run out
Thank
of
you.
our time. Thank you very much, and good luck on Election Day. Remember, everyone online, I couldn't get to all your questions, and I apologize, but each and every one of the people running has, of course, websites, information, and places you can go to learn about their platforms. I want to thank all of our candidates for being so generous with their time tonight, and they have been Venkat Macharaju, Doug Wilson, Don Woodstock, Brian Bowman, Jenny Motkaluk, Tim Dyack, Umar Hayat, and Ed Ackerman. I'm Marcy Marcusa. Vote, vote, vote on October 24th. And good night.